Hi lovely Librans, Happy New Year. Welcome to your overview reading for 2019. My name is Melanie. Today I'm using two different decks of cards, both of which I'll leave details about below this reading. The first deck is called Tattoo Tarot Ink and Intuition, and the second deck, which I use sort of more like oracle cards, you can see two cards on the left here, I use from the Dreamtime Reading Cards deck, and that'll sort of be the overall theme for 2019 for Libras, and I'll be reading from a booklet about both of the cards that jumped out for you guys. Normally I just have one card, but you actually had two that popped out, so I thought we'd have two. Okay, so diving into the reading. This is a general reading too, by the way, so it may or may not resonate with you. Take what you like and leave the rest. That's totally fine. If anything, I hope it would be useful for you guys in some way, shape or form. So getting into the reading now with the tarot cards. The first card representing 2018 perhaps was what came up for you guys, what was a bit of the focus or what lessons were learnt. The Ace of Coins, otherwise known as the Ace of Pentacles, came out for you guys. And across the back with those cards standing upright, they represent 2019 and different domains of your life. The first card there, the Seven of Swords, being about love and relationships in 2019. The second card representing money and finances this year for Librans, the Five of Wands. The third card being about work, study, hobbies for this year. You guys have Temperance. The next card along representing the area of spirituality, Three of Wands. And the last card across the top there representing the area of health. For this year, you guys have the Four of Swords, Four of Cups, not the Four of Swords. And the bottom two on the right here representing possible obstacles that may come up this year. You have the Star card, and finally, Librans, what may be useful and helpful for you guys this year, something to keep in mind, the King of Cups. So let's get into it. 2018, last year, the card that came out for that was the Ace of Coins, otherwise known as the Ace of Pentacles. So Ace, so something last year was new. There was a new beginning in something that could have been related to work or finances. Coins, Pentacles being about practical matters. It's very earthly energy, work stuff, money, finances, possessions, businesses, something. But it can also be, you can expand it bigger than that into something that was new, that came into your life, that was very real and solid and genuine. So in that way, it could have been anything that represents that was sort of like a bit of a gift from the universe. This card represents abundance, practical success as a result of hard work, a positive new beginning in security, finances, practicality is a very grounding and solid energy. It's a card of results. So whatever started last year, that you're now taking into this year, had a very solid base and foundation to it. It's kind of building things brick by brick, but in a really positive, solid way. Whatever that fresh start or fresh thing is that came into your life, it's very real, it's very solid, it can be very prosperous. Beautiful. Moving on to 2019. The first area of your life this year that we see, you guys have the Seven of Swords card in the area of love and relationships. So this card can have a few meanings. Straight up, this card can be a little tricky in that it can represent deception and betrayal. So it can mean like someone around you or yourself being a bit cunning, being a bit dishonest. There's some air of mischievousness, getting away with something, sneakiness, having to watch your back, or you kind of being sneaky to get what you want from something. It's a bit about possibly like manipulation, but that sort of can backfire. sort of wanting to protect yourself in some way, but it's not really a good way to be doing that. So this card can also represent sort of like areas to do with communication and speaking out, publishing news, editing computers and stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure. I don't know if that really fits in this area of love and relationships, but maybe something in that area around communication may be relevant in the area of relationships this year for you guys. In following on from communication though, in relation to love and relationships, and that may well be an intimate relationship, but this could also be about relationships in your life across the board, friendships, colleagues, family, anyone really. This card can just encourage the importance of trust and communication in a relationship, and the need to have real, genuine people in your life, not people around you, and of course not yourself, where you kind of question their integrity, because this card is about someone's just not being genuine and real. So for this year, obviously the goal would be to find really good, solid relationships with people that you trust, that have a lot of integrity. To be mindful, I guess, of betrayal, of having a sense of needing to find out information about someone, or someone's kind of being sneaky to find out information about you. This card can also be about not being too rational in the area of love and relationships, which is about the heart. So sort of not being too much in your head. The swords representing head stuff, thinking, words, thoughts, communication, beliefs, ideas. So not being too stuck in that kind of stuff, which may keep out love and really good, solid connections in your life. This card can also be about being a bit stuck in a lack mentality of sort of not having enough, feeling poverty in some way, and struggling to communicate your wants and needs, and sort of having to go about that in a bit of a sneaky way. So it's kind of right in your head in some way, because there's some sort of funky stuff going on either in your head or someone else's head potentially, that has this air of sort of deviousness to it and fear of being taken advantage of. So just heads up, really, and make sure you align yourself with people that you really want to be aligned to. Find your tribe of people that you can absolutely trust. The next area of your life for 2019 Librans is money, and for that you guys got the Five of Wands. So, Five of Wands can represent disagreements, conflicts, tension, competition, having too many choices, kind of a bit of chaos, a bit of like too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing going on. Like lots of people having different opinions, or maybe you've got different thoughts in your own head about the way to manage your money or financial sort of situation that comes in this year, and sort of people saying, oh, you should do this, or you should do that, or what about this, and someone else saying, no, you should do this, and meanwhile you're thinking a different thing. All this could all be going on in your head as well about, where do I go this year with my money, and having a bit of conflicting opinions that really don't have any purpose. It's like nothing's kind of working together for a cohesive goal, and things might be a bit of a struggle. Some is potentially financially this year, but only in a temporary manner. It's a card to really encourage you to get your finances in order, to be mindful of conflict with others regarding money. Like I said, there might be all these kind of conflicting opinions around your money. There could also be some issues. This isn't the area of work, but it very much could be about competition kind of going on at work. And obviously work and money are very connected there. So I think this card is really encouraging you to find a cohesive way to manage your money. If things change with money this year, try not to panic too much. It's probably only temporary, and find a good solid solution that that reduces kind of this internal conflict or external conflict around you regarding money this year. Come to your, like, look at things in black and white, you know, actually maybe sit down, write things out if you need to, and kind of come to some really good, clear solutions around money. Okay, moving on to the area of work, study, hobbies. You guys got the Temperance card there, which is really quite a lovely card. Temperance is about balance, but it's about moderation, it's about self-control, harmony, consolidating things, coordinating things, successful combinations coming together, patience. You know, this card very much about patience, but also about being a bit cautious in things, acting with restraint and moderation. So kind of a lovely kind of gentle energy. In relation to the area of work, it is suggesting you to be a bit conservative right now, to be a bit patient with things, don't take too many risks, protect your money, which I think is interesting, sitting right next to the Five of Wands card there, where there could potentially be a bit of conflict around money this year. So the Temperance card right next to it in relation to work is suggesting that things that may come up in this area, don't jump too quickly on anything new or different that's offered to you. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, that could be wonderful and exciting, but if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So this card is saying don't sort of just jump at the first opportunity that comes your way. Be patient, be reflectful. Man, I'm really mixing up my words today. Be reflective and take your time to really, which I think Librans can do. I find the Librans in my life are very patient, sometimes can be patient people, and you guys are about balance. If we think of the scales, you guys really have a need to find balance. You know, that's, I think, a way for you to feel more in alignment with yourself. So whatever new things or different things that come up this year in relation to work, or sort of opportunities around that, or study or hobbies, something, you know, may suddenly sort of unexpected may show up, and you may just want to kind of grab that on this kind of whim. But Temperance is saying just control yourself a bit, find balance in that, look at the big picture, try to work out what's going to be the best combination here, and just kind of slow that process down without taking too many risks. And I think if you do take a lot of risks, the Five of Wands card there is saying that things are going to get a little hairy, and there's going to be some sort of conflictual, competitive energy going on there in the area of money, which is never really fun. I think that's quite stressful. Moving on to the next area of your life this year, the Three of Wands came up. So this and this is, in the area of spirituality. Interesting card, I think, to have in this position, because this card typically kind of means busyness, being on the go, strength in numbers, business, cooperation and success, the end of troubles, the end of problems, a ceasefire, standing on top of the hill, watching your ships come in finally, kind of thing. There's been some hard work, maybe some kind of mixed loyalties, a bit of disappointments and stuff like that, but now there's an end to that, and you're kind of looking ahead to the future. You're looking at the returns, the favourable returns of your hard work. It's a card about foresight, preparation, sort of coming to the end and seeing the reward at the last leg of the journey, and feeling a sense of reward, feeling a sense of stability. This card, you know, can be about being independent and going your own way. So, and you may now be in a position to sort of do that, to sort of lead others, you know, perhaps, because you're sort of further along. You've done the hard work. You're no longer planning. You're now like on the journey and sort of actually heading towards the end, and kind of looking ahead to the future, to the horizon, and going, oh look, I can actually see on the horizon good things coming in now as a result of whatever work I've put into this area. So this is the area of spirit and spirituality and your belief systems. So I think this card is saying that maybe you have been grappling with this in some way, shape or form, but now you're at a much more sort of settled and centered place with that. You're in a sort of more of an independent place. You've kind of come up with and are comfortable with your own belief system, your own relationship with God, the universe, whatever you personally believe in there, and you're feeling quite comfortable in that, quite certain in that. And other people now may be looking to you, kind of going, hey dude, you seem really kind of in tune with things, or things are kind of flowing for you, or I've just heard you talk about some certain things and I really love that you have such strong faith. For instance, what's that about? Can you share that with me? It's a card about feeling happy in your spiritual progress, you know, that maybe things have been, you know, I think we all go through times where our faith is tested, faith in whatever that is. But right now, this year, I think you're in a really calm, you know, content place in relationship to your relationship with the divine. This card is, I think, because this is a good card, really, in that sense, it's also saying that maybe this year you'll find yourself really able to tune into your intuition and tune into perhaps sort of psychic abilities and kind of having really good strong feelings about things. So that to me suggests a really good connection to the universe and a really good solid connection to yourself. Good stuff. Finally, in the last card along the top there, in the area of health, you guys have the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups typically means like kind of, it's a bit of a card about perspective, and sort of not seeing the bigger picture about things quite enough. So you are kind of like a little bit too much in your head with an overactive meditation, kind of being in your own little world, a little bit preoccupied, a little bit kind of jaded sometimes, or a little bit apathetic. This card can also be about meditation, just like being in that place of meditation, but essentially it's about sort of being a little bit closed off to something that you're not quite seeing, that something is kind of being presented to you or offered to you, or there's some other part of the picture that you're not looking at, that you're focused on other things. And I think you're perhaps a little bit too focused on ruminating in your internal kind of world and your kind of feelings, rather than looking at what actually lifting your head up and looking around you and sort of seeing what more is out there and around you. So it can, in that sense, it can be suggesting the area of health and your body. You may need to take stock of things now, kind of reevaluate how well you've been taking care of yourself. If you've been a little bit neglectful of some part of yourself because you're kind of you're focused on one area, say, of your life, and not really managing, say, your physical body and healthy lifestyle that well, and sort of needing to be, I guess, honest with yourself in that regard, and paying more attention to this area of your life, rather than being a little bit neglectful or a little bit too lost and focused on other areas of your life, and not kind of, not incorporating the body. And of course, if you don't have health, you don't have much at all. It really puts a stop to many areas of your life if you get really sick. If people offer you help or support, take it, get out of your head, assess why you're feeling a bit dissatisfied right now or kind of ruminating, and if you need to do a little bit of internal reflection and introspection, but not too much that you cut yourself off from other people and other, I guess, domains and areas of your life, certainly not at the expense of your health and your body. So this year, I guess, pay attention to that. Make sure that you live as holistically as you can in terms of trying to balance. We have the Temperance card there about trying to balance things. Balance this area of your life too, if you have been a bit neglectful of it, to confront yourself in that regard. Go, it's my diet a bit shit? Have I been drinking a little bit too much, or have I been just burning the candle at both ends? Am I not exercising? Actually I'd really like to be this kind of person and doing these kinds of things and I'm not. And why is that? And taking stock of that and being really honest with yourself in that regard. Okay, moving on to final couple of cards there of the tarot reading. Possible obstacles that may come up for Librans this year. And the Star card came out for you guys. The Star card is actually just a really lovely card of sort of hope, of bright promise, of a light at the end of the tunnel, good prospects, faith, kind of new dawn coming, feeling that you're sort of on the right path, guided by the stars, feeling kind of replenished, feeling joyful, having faith, having inspiration, generosity, generous spirit, generous with others. What does this mean though in the position of possible obstacles this year? I think there may be a tendency to be a little bit blinded by the stars. Maybe some things in your life are going really well. Awesome, great, awesome. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But again, maybe you kind of get really swept up in that and get all kind of excited, and you're not then thinking logically enough. So again, I think it's saying this year you need to kind of balance many things in your life as best you can. Don't get too caught up in wishful thinking. Don't get too caught up in focusing on the future and going, oh, and this is going to happen and this is going to happen, and being like ridiculously over optimistic. There's nothing wrong with being optimistic, but you need to still stay focused on what's happening today in your present moment. This card can, in an obstacle position, it can be a bit about being a little bit too naive, not being realistic, being a little bit too starry-eyed, only looking at the positive and not looking at, actually what are some of the negatives here. I need to kind of weigh up the pros and the cons in order to fully get a big picture of things, in relation to the stars. It's like looking too much up at the stars, and of course if you're always looking up at the stars, you can't see what's ahead of you, you can't see what's on the ground, you may bump into things, you may fall down a hole, etc., etc., which I think is interesting given that you had the Four of Cups there in and showing up in the area of health, about perhaps not seeing enough, not the perspective being a little bit too narrow. And this card in the obstacle position is saying your perspective is a little bit, potentially this year could be a little bit too kooky and out there kind of thing. You need to kind of ground yourself a bit much and not get too swept up in all the beautiful feelings. Nothing wrong, as I said, with having awesome beautiful feelings of hope and positivity and optimism, but just make sure you're still in reality. Finally, helpful tools that may, things that may be of use this year. You guys have the King of Cups. Interestingly, this card is about emotional balance and control. The King of Cups is this could actually be a man that is around or masculine energy, or someone who represents the energies of this card. If it's an actual person, it could always be you, of course. This is a man who is quite very in touch with his emotional side and his feminine side, a family man, a softer kind of man who shows love and warmth, but sometimes maybe a little bit ruled by his emotions. This is about a person who could be very creative, a professional, very educated, someone who's like a poet or an artist, could be a religious or legal person in your life. It's a king, so this is a person in position of leadership, of power. Essentially, this card, whether it's an actual person, whether it's you, or whether it's just the energies, this card is about composure and maintaining kind of balance and emotional composure in your life, especially when you need to have patience. It's a card about focusing on your feelings, being in touch with those, needing to weigh up the pros and cons in certain areas of your life. Boy, is that a theme. As I'm reading this out, I'm like, gosh, this is such a theme this year for you guys. The need for balance, the need for patience, the need for perspective. Sort of looking up, you know, at the stars, getting connected, but then kind of getting back grounded into yourself, getting into the present moment, balancing pros and cons, looking around you, coming to your own secure place, you know, being in touch with your feelings and your thoughts and your intuition and your connection to the universe. Yeah, you know, easy. You know, obviously that's a work in progress for every single human being, I think, until we die. So in that regard, trusting your intuition, maintaining your composure, maybe seeking out counsel from someone who's wiser, wiser and older than you, who is quite in touch with themselves, emotionally speaking, could be very useful this year. But essentially this is about riding the waves of emotions that may come up and riding them just calmly, you know, feeling like, nah, I got this, you know, kind of thing. But overall, I think a huge theme this year for Librans is about balance. So this is who you guys are naturally as well. And I think you guys have a craving almost to be balanced in your life and in yourselves. So whatever kind of comes along this year that may be a little tricky, say the Seven of Swords, Five of Wands, you know, maybe Four of Cups, just keep your wits about you, and keep that perspective, really, that calm perspective, and look at the big picture. So moving on to the final two cards. There usually is one card, as I said, but two came out for you guys, and I'm going to read from the book, the Dreamtime Reading Cards book, about connecting with the ancient spirit and nature of Australia. The Dreamtime is the Aboriginal Australian spiritual belief system, and I just love these cards. I use them as oracle cards. They have such beautiful images, the dot paintings, very typical of Aboriginal Australian paintings, and I just love the meanings of these cards. So I'm just going to flip to the page. The first card that you have there, called Goanna, which means self-preservation. This card here, there's two goannas on the card. Goanna is like a reptile, like a lizard. So the name goanna covers a number of different species of the monitor lizard family, some of which can grow up to 2 meters in length. They all have sharp claws which they use to grip trees and eat prey. You often see goanna claw marks on the trunks of trees when they have been climbing in search of birds' eggs. They shed their skins as they grow in a similar way to a snake. But unlike a snake, which sheds its whole skin in one piece, the goanna sheds little bits constantly. The goanna is very agile and can run remarkably fast when threatened, given its size. The goanna's message is one of self-preservation. It is important to know your own limits and do what is right for you. If something feels wrong, it is best to retreat. Sometimes when you are insulted or bullied, you start to believe what you are being told, but by drawing on the energy of the goanna's thick skin, you can toughen yourself up to this treatment and just deflect the attacks. If it becomes necessary to shed outdated ideas and situations that no longer serve you, the goanna offers you the means to shed only what you need to. It is time to be very clear about your personal boundaries and what you feel is right for you to be doing at this time. When you have drawn the goanna, it is time to protect and value yourself and make wise decisions based on what is best for you. Don't be afraid to say no. Really interesting, I think, coming back to the need to come back to yourself always and work out what's best for you. And finally, the card there, the last card about representing ocean, meaning surrender. Beautiful. I'm going to start reading. Australia is a huge island continent surrounded on all sides by the Pacific, Indian and Southern Oceans. People the world over flock to its beaches to enjoy their golden sand and beautiful clear turquoise waters. The ocean is powerful, and at times its waves can seem scary. At other times the waves are gentle, cleansing and refreshing. Salt water is great for cleansing your body and your auric field. You often feel lighter, sharper and more attuned after spending time bathing in the ocean's healing waters. The ocean also represents turbulence, changes, waves of power and quickly changing environments, and I would add emotions there. Sometimes you are being challenged to ride the waves of power when you feel them approaching. There will also be times when you find yourself in calm waters, light-hearted and free. This card asks you to surrender to the power of the ocean and let yourself drift, allowing the waters to heal and cleanse you. A time of great power is upon you. Situations will move quickly and you may feel like the ground beneath you is slipping away. Now is a good time to indulge in long swims in the ocean or soak in a salted bath. So that's it, really good tips there. And I think that card in particular is talking about finding balance of the emotional, riding the emotional waves that may come up this year in a few different areas of your life. So Librans, thank you so much for watching and listening to this. I'm really appreciative and grateful. If you liked it, you know what to do. But all the best for 2019. Bye.